Alright, let's start with the decentralization milestone that just got validated. Over 400,000 active nodes now operate on Pi network, run entirely by everyday users called pioneers. To put this in perspective, 400,000 active nodes places Pi among the most widely distributed blockchains currently in operation. Each additional node adds another layer of security and eliminates single points of failure. This isn't just a number for marketing purposes. This is actual distributed validation infrastructure. Here's why this matters fundamentally. With hundreds of thousands of independent machines validating network activity, Pi is no longer dependent on a small group of operators or centralized validation. Control is genuinely spreading outward across a global user base. That distributed control becomes critical as the network prepares for open utility and real value flow. The scale itself represents a transformation. Pi network has shifted from experimental closed ecosystem into live global infrastructure operating in production. This foundation isn't theoretical anymore. It's already running in the wild, processing transactions, validating activity, and maintaining consensus across hundreds of thousands of independent nodes. The community message is clear. The infrastructure phase is complete. What remains is the final transition to open mainnet, where this distributed network connects to external liquidity and broader cryptocurrency markets. Now let's discuss what could be the most significant strategic decision. Pi network's apparent alignment with Stellar-style payment infrastructure. While no formal partnership has been officially confirmed, community discussions and development patterns point clearly toward adopting design principles similar to what Stellar built for cross-border payments. The focus is unmistakable, fast, low-cost, simple payments that feel natural for daily users rather than complex DeFi protocols. If Pi successfully implements Stellar-style rails, it unlocks several critical capabilities. Smooth merchant payment processing becomes possible. Wallet-to-wallet transfers can execute with minimal friction. Fast settlement for applications and services becomes standard. This would push Pi decisively beyond just mining rewards into genuine financial utility. And here's what separates current Pi development from years of promises. Developers are already testing actual swap flows inside the Pi ecosystem. Screenshots from test environments show Pi swapping into assets like Bitcoin through early decentralized exchange-style interfaces. These aren't concept mockups. These are functional back-end rails for payments and liquidity already in motion. The fundamental shift is this. Pi no longer only talks about vision and roadmaps. The network now actively tests how money actually moves across its system. Slippage control mechanisms, transaction fee structures, asset conversion flows. These are production-ready features being refined, not vaporware promises. Quick pause here. If you're realizing that Pi's infrastructure build might actually be legitimate after years of skepticism, do me a favor and smash that like button right now. And if you want to track which long development projects are actually delivering versus which are just perpetual promises, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We separate execution from hype. Alright, let's continue with the DEX momentum. Momentum is building rapidly around the incoming Pi DEX phase, and community builders are urging users to prepare through supported wallets ahead of the liquidity event. So, why does wallet preparation matter? Well, early access actually gives you some pretty significant advantages once real trading begins. Testing already shows off functional swap mechanics, including slippage control, transaction fee calculation, and asset conversions, all directly inside Pi browser. These aren't just, cosmetic demonstrations anymore. They really resemble actual trading flows that are basically ready for production deployment. Once mainnet liquidity connects to these existing interfaces, the same tools can honestly transition live almost immediately. The infrastructure doesn't need to be built from scratch when open mainnet activates. It's already constructed and just being refined through testing. But here's what makes Pi's approach fundamentally different from typical DEX launches. The demand side already exists. Pi network has conducted large-scale user verification, with millions of pioneers already completing KYC processes. That creates a base of verified, ready-to-transact users, not just speculative wallet addresses with, no real humans behind them. When trading opens, buyers and sellers already exist inside the ecosystem with verified identities and established network participation. This, honestly, is how legitimate markets form. You build infrastructure first. You establish a verified user base second. You connect liquidity third. Discovery and price formation happen last, after the foundation exists. Most crypto projects do this backward. They launch tokens, create artificial liquidity, hope users show up, and then try to build infrastructure afterward. Pi inverted that entire sequence. and if execution continues, it could result in far more sustainable market formation. So, Pi Network's evolutionary path looks, completely different from typical cryptocurrency launches, and honestly, understanding that difference really matters for evaluating what comes next. Pi started with mobile mining, not with traders or speculators. It built a user base measured in millions before creating any markets. Now it's systematically wiring payments, swap functionality, and financial automation on top of that established foundation. The strategic focus leans heavily into built-in compliance, automated verification, and global accessibility. That's why Pi targets everyday spending and earning rather than pure DeFi speculation or leverage trading. The goal isn't primarily creating chart patterns for traders. The goal is enabling spending, earning, and cross-border settlement using simple tools that non-crypto native users can actually understand. With 400,000 nodes online providing genuine decentralization, millions of KYC-verified users ready to transact, early DEX testing showing functional swap mechanics, and payment infrastructure design moving towards stellar-style efficiency, the foundational pieces are systematically aligning. Open mainnet remains the final critical switch. When that transition occurs, Pi Network stops behaving like a closed experimental ecosystem and begins operating as a live digital economy connected to broader cryptocurrency markets. And this time, unlike many projects that promise infrastructure coming soon, the rails are already constructed and operational in testing environments. So there you have it, Crypto Fam. Pi Network just validated 400,000 active nodes, is testing stellar-style payment infrastructure, has functional DEX swap mechanics already operational in test environments, and has millions of verified users prepared for the liquidity event. After years of criticism about being vaporware, the infrastructure is provably live and being refined. The question isn't whether Pi built something real anymore. The question is, when Open Mainnet activates and connects this infrastructure to external markets, how does the market respond? That moment determines everything. If this breakdown helped you understand why Pi's approach might actually succeed despite years of skepticism, show some appreciation by dropping a like on this video, and subscribe to TJ Crypto World if you want to track which long development projects are actually delivering infrastructure versus which are just perpetual roadmaps. I've also got a comparison coming on 3 other projects claiming to build payment networks. We'll examine which have functional infrastructure versus which have only promises. Stay sharp. Demand execution over promises, and remember, in crypto, infrastructure that actually works beats marketing hype every single time. This is TJ, signing off. Let's build wealth together.